kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Welcome everyone to another exciting night of racing action in the Racers Elite Truck Series. We're live from the legendary Rockingham Speedway here right on Sim Racing Media, where these drivers are set to face on one of the toughest tracks on the schedule as the playoffs approach. My name's Jonathan Leach. Joining me tonight is going to be Colin McDonough. Tonight, all eyes are on the top contenders as they battle for supremacy. Andrew Teft comes in with 2 wins and a solid 239 points, positioning him as one of the strongest drivers on the grid. Meanwhile, Blair Holloman leads the series with 4 wins and is just a few points behind Teft in the total. It's going to make him a fierce competitor tonight, Colin.
But the excitement doesn't end there, John. The fight for the final playoff spot is where the real tension lies. Jesse Fox currently holds that spot with 191 points, a slim 12-point cushion over Troy Thomas in 13th. Thomas, along with drivers like Philip Archibald and Dennis Kane, is desperately fighting to make up ground and secure a spot in the playoffs. With only 2 races remaining before the playoffs kick off on November 19th, every lap, every pass, every pit stop, every point is crucial.
And you know, that's what's going to make Rockingham such an exciting place tonight, Colin. It's great to be in the booth with you here. We've got 24 trucks for this racing event. It's race number 6 on the season. Here at Rockingham, the track temperature is cooking at 111 degrees. It's just under a mile long, and for those that care, it's 400 feet above sea level. It looks like Blair Holloman and Lee Campbell are going to start us off on the grid, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and put that up. Row number 1 will be Blair Holloman and Lee Campbell. Row 2 is Andrew Teft and Philip Archibald, so you see the two multi-winners here in the top 4 for this event. Row number 3 is Honeycutt, Rowan Lloyd. Row 4, Sean Dunaway, Sean Merriman, with row 5 being Kyle Hess, Truth, Hoke, Colin.
Yes. So, row 6, you're going to have Justin Branham and Kensley Smith. 7, you'll have Curtis Ecker and Matt Metler. And row 8 on the inside is Dennis Kane, followed by John Brancaccio, whose name I'm probably messing up. Behind them is going to be Jesse Fox and Randy Sprouse in row 9. Row 10 is going to be Kirby Wainscott and Nathan Strauss. Row 11, we see Troy Thomas next to Trevor Woodward. And the rounding out the final row, Timothy Wright and Rob Yost Jr.
And we got to mention, Troy Thomas, he's 12 points behind, Jesse Fox for that last playoff position. Fox not having a good start, but drivers are competing against like Philip Archibald and Dennis Kane with good qualifying efforts, putting them much closer to the front. Now, Rockingham is a track where you can certainly lose positioning quickly on small things that may or may not go right or your way. So starting in the back may not be the end all be all, but it certainly makes it very difficult because this track's going to be extremely slick and really hard to get around as these drivers get ready to go here.
Yeah, John, Rockingham is a bumpy track, and I feel like it rewards drivers that don't push the envelope too far. Unforced errors just really bite you here.
And, in the abrasive surface, it's a unique layout. It's going to demand the utmost skill and endurance. Testing these drivers in multiple ways, tire management, patience, and precision are going to be key. Adding to tonight's complexity, several drivers on the edge of eligibility. Kinsley Smith, Nathan Strauss, they have to attend the rest of the season races in order to compete in the playoffs. It's shaping up to be an epic showdown tonight. Race fans, buckle up. You're in for a thrilling evening as the green flag is out here at Rockingham as Blair Holloman and Lee Campbell lead the field in turn number 1.
Oh, it looks like they're already 3 wide further back.
Everybody jockeying for position in a hurry. You're probably going to want to make your moves while the tires are cold at this racing surface. As the 18 Sean Merriman with quite a checkup right there. Close proximity, a big gaggle of machines from 7th on back. We're featuring Kyle Hess, number 86 right here, are focused in on that Hess machine on the low side, the number 5. That 5 is actually Kinsley Smith, but he's showing the 5 on his car, number 15 for timing and scoring.
We're seeing a lot of drivers taking risks and getting close to try to get the passes done while the tires are still in that nice, really grippy temperature range.
Yeah, with the track temperature being 111 degrees, once the tires start to fall off, I reckon it'll be really difficult to get the drive in that you're wanting. So it's going to end up like a tight in and extremely loose off condition when you're trying to put power down. As we're looking at Philip Archibald, he's dropped 3 spots in that number 99 Winston Toyota Tundra since the start of this one. Make it 4 now as Truth Hoke is working on him from the outside and is going to take that position away.
Truth Hoke is always a display of patience and just setting up moves and executing. I'm not surprised to see him go around the outside.
Yeah, back when I was racing more regularly, I used to hang out with Truth Hoke, and we'd kind of end up being in the same game chat, and he's a driver who's come a long way since I was racing regularly almost 2 years ago. Hard to believe that we've had the Racers Elite Series with us for about 2 years now, but It's been about 2 years since I was a regular driver, and Hoke has come a long way, and he's showing that skill right here as he looks to the inside of the 13 of Honeycutt, moving him to the 6th position. And just behind him, it looks like Rowan, excuse me, not Rowan Lloyd, that number 61 machine. That is Rowan Lloyd, looking to make it 3 wide in between Kinsley Smith and the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt, taking no prisoners as they're 3 wide on lap 6.
It's really getting dicey back there, John. These drivers are doing a phenomenal job keeping it clean, but it looks like Brandon Honeycutt is falling like a bit of a rock.
And, not that I'm surprised at all. Matt Metler taking it 3 wide on lap 7. He's got no sense of patience. Love the guy, but patience is not a virtue for the 311 driver. But he's all the way up to 11, up 3 spots now. Very good super speedway driver, but I do think Rockingham is one of those short tracks that's going to suit his driving style well. So looking forward to see if the driver of the 311 can hang on to the tires, management, and get himself into the top 5, maybe even win the race. He's making a switch to the truck series from what I believe he was running in the Cup series, so we'll be seeing him on Tuesdays from now on, following Sean Dunaway as he's looking to the inside of Truth Hoke. Hoke was taking the position away from Donaway, move Hoke to the top 5.
And now I think 9 laps in, we're going to really start to see the point where the tires are getting hot, and it might be beneficial to start managing your pace and keeping that tire temp in a range that's predictable to see how long you can go and not force yourself into an early stop.
Yeah, and going towards the front here, Campbell got around Blair Holloman. Holloman looking at maybe trying to take that position back. Holloman's got the fastest lap of the race as he's looking to the outside of Lee Campbell. They're side by side down the front stretch. Not really sure what the preferred line is here at Rockingham, but it looks like Holloman's going to be able to take away that position and slide right down in front of Lee Campbell. Looking to me that perhaps you want to enter high at this racetrack and then turn the truck down low. Let's go on board with Campbell and just kind of see how he's driving this racing surface tonight. Yeah, so staying a little bit higher right here, almost like he's following Blair Holloman through that run. Into turn number 3. Yeah, taking the higher lane, trying to stay out of the wall right there. You can already tell the trucks are getting extremely tight. It's only been 12 laps on their entry. And I wouldn't discount possibly seeing a spin off of turn 4 when drivers get side by side battling for position later on. Following the number 58 Red Bull Ford F-150 of Justin Branham. He's got Rowan Lloyd just in front of him. Lloyd dropping 3 positions since the start of this race, and Philip Archibald dropping 4. Highest mover so far, Sean Merriman up to 3rd.
Truth Hoke has that same 5 spots up, as well as Kinsley Smith being 5 spots up.
Yeah, and this Kinsley Smith's a driver that you're used to seeing methodically work his way through the field. It hasn't taken him too long. Started 12th up to 7th. Plenty of racing left to go. Barely a 10th through on this one. Probably another 40 laps before we see any kind of green flag pit stops, as Kyle Hess is going to bring the 86 down pit road right now. Not really sure why. I would assume it's unscheduled.
I can't. I'm not quite sure. I wonder if he's burned up his tires and thinks that a fresh set might get him someplace good later on.
Could be more to it, and perhaps he has to vacate the racing surface. Looks like he might be just getting out of the vehicle. Start and park possibly for Kyle Hess. That'll leave 23 drivers on the lead lap. Here comes Nathan Strauss as well.
Interesting. I wonder why.
Back up front, Holloman's opened the lead on Campbell by about a second, and then about another second to 3rd. But once you get to 4th on back, things get a little bit closer. Everybody right here from really 5th to 8th are all within 1 second of each other. Sean Dunaway currently in 6th, just in front of Kinsley Smith.
We see that Andrew Teft has dropped back 2 spots, and I do wonder, with him being someone who manages tires well and manages fuel well, if the whole from the very beginning, if that's on his mind. Oh,
yeah, Kinsley Smith into the wall a little bit right there. Now, and going back to what you said about Teft, he is somebody that is very good at managing his tires, and he's got 2 wins on the season, so he knows how to get it done in the Truck Series. So it's certainly worth keeping an eye on him to see how this run goes on. Something happened to that 311. We saw him a few more positions up a minute ago. He's dropped a few. Now to Brandon Honeycutt, Dennis Kane. It looks like he's trying to get around Dennis Kane here if he can.
Yeah, I think that 311 of Matt Mettler found himself dragging the wall earlier out of 2, which is easier to do than I'd like to admit. I've done it plenty of times.
Now the truck looks okay right here. Just trying to figure out how he wants to take that Tundra and get around the racing surface. Looks like he might be having a tough time kind of figuring out what groove he wants to run. But, we're 21 laps in now, and so you're certainly feeling these tires. Let's go on board with Dunaway and see how he's fighting this machine. You can see the bumps right there coming out of turn 2 for Dunaway. You can see the front end lift a little bit. If you don't get it right going through that corner, you can snap this truck wicked loose, and that's not what you're looking for when you're trying to conserve tires.
It is so easy to lose the back end of these, especially coming out of turn 2.
Want to thank everybody joining us tonight on Election Day 2024. Where we go racing instead of worrying about the election. 24 drivers showed up today, and 22 still on track. The field front to the rear is only separated by 12 seconds, and the lap times are all right about the same, 25.5 to 25.7. So all the drivers last time around running about the same lap times. The difference, I would say, so far is how consistent are you every lap, and that's why a driver like Blair Holloman has a 2.5 second lead over Lee Campbell.
That's exactly right. It's the fall off for some has been about 1 second from when the race started versus their current lap times, but for some of these drivers, they've fallen a little bit further off the pace. You're seeing 1.5 seconds, almost 2 seconds of drop just from, it's just going to be from tire wear.
.27 laps in out of 30. Expect these drivers can probably go about 40, 42 laps before they're really looking to get some more tires on here. As you see, Brandon Honeycutt just getting around Kinsley Smith. That was for 8th. Further back, another battle. 3 drivers racing right here. Trevor Woodward, Troy Thomas, Jesse Fox a little further back there. Rob Yosta Jr. Troy Thomas really needing to pick up some positions here. 18th is not going to cut it when we were discussing how close the playoff standings were. So Troy Thomas was 12 points back on Jesse Fox, entered this race at 179 total points. And it is worth worth mentioning. Sorry, Colin. We haven't worked together much, and I got lots to say, apparently. It's worth mentioning that Lee Campbell and Rob Yost Jr., really 2 spots are very close to the cutoff line also. So the bottom 3 in the playoffs are only at a maximum 19 points ahead, and the top 3 outside the playoffs are max only 18 points below. Dennis Kane with the lowest, he's 18 points out, currently running.
Oh, and he's in a battle with
14th.
Matt Mettler.
Last place that I would want to be if I'm trying to make the playoffs, personally.
Oh my goodness. Yep, things are certainly getting heated between those trucks.
And, it's worth mentioning right now, Philip Archibald is 14 points out. He is presently in front of both Jesse Fox, Rob Yosta Jr., and Troy Thomas, to include Dennis Kane. So running where he is right now, Philip Archibald is putting more points between himself and the drivers that he's competing with.
I suspect if I was in Philip Archibald's spot right now, I would just be trying to maintain, a consistent pace and try to keep that truck positioned on track where it is.
Don't look now, but Truth Hoke has made his way to P2.
Oh my goodness. Where did that come from?
Yeah, he just snuck his way up there, but let's take a look here. Sean Dunaway, Brandon Honeycutt, Sean Merriman, handful of drivers, and perhaps this part of how this occurred. These drivers are all really close together. He might have had an opening, was able to get away as everybody else battles through. We were too busy deeper in the field watching other drivers as Truth Hoke managed to pull away up 8 positions now since the start of this race. Another driver up a substantial amount of positions is the 83 of Rob Yost, and he is working on Trevor Woodward for 16th.
Just saw Kirby Wainscott got around Justin Branham, so he is now up 8 spots as well.
Yeah, so a lot of big movers, others not so much. We're going to go ahead and step away for our first of likely only 2 breaks for the evening. A lot of action going on. We'd like to try to get back just in time for green flag pit stops. I'm Jonathan. Joining me tonight is Colin. We'll be right back. And we're back to racing here at Rockingham Motor Speedway as Philip Archibald and Rowan Lloyd are the first drivers to come down pit road, vacating their positioning on track for fresh tires to handle this abrasive racing surface. Colin, these two drivers coming down pit road early could be beneficial, but I feel like they might be set for a 3-stop race.
Well, I think we had a few other pit stop takers. Lap 40 was the first that I saw. We had Dennis Kane, Curtis Ecker, Matt Metler, and Timothy Wright all came down on lap 40. So it may be that they want to split it and just do 40, 80, and run it to the end.
And and I clearly misspoke. I don't know how I missed half the field not pitting, but just missed it on my timing here. I guess I'm rusty. As you got a heck of a battle here with 4 drivers. Woodward, Metler, 3 wide. Holy cow, are they going to go 4 wide? Very well could. And this is, a battle for further back in the pack here, but on fresh tires. Truth Hoke still on the track. He's got a 2.5 second lead on Andrew Teft. Neither driver pitting. If these guys can get
Troy Thomas and Blair Holloman down pit road.
If Truth Hope can get to 60, maybe he's going to try to do this on a 1-stop as he's going to come down pit road now. So that's not an option.
He may have just made sure to stay out there an extra lap to get a lap lead point.
John Dunaway down pit road as well. Andrew Teft going to cycle to the lead. How long will he stay out? At this point, I'm feeling like they probably cannot make it on fuel to the end on 1 stop here. But now you just got to think.
I think we'll see Andrew Teft come in this lap. I think people cycling to the front, they'll stay out if they can to take that lap lead point.
Yeah, that could be what he's trying to do here. His last time around 26:32, he's given up 2.25 seconds to drivers on fresher tires, but he did have quite a good gap over drivers, 7th on back, so he can afford to stay out a little bit longer. And if he can get to 58, he can get to 60. This truck series has shown us, and, well, obviously I don't know what I'm talking about as he comes down pit road. But the series has shown us that they can go caution-free.
Oh, they certainly can. Yeah, the level of skill in this group is really excellent. You don't see a whole lot of people making mistakes. That's what makes it so competitive as well.
Yeah, that's the best one of the better parts of this series as Honeycutt's going to get his lap and come down pit road as well. Holloman should cycle out to the lead with a 2.5 second gap on Truth Hoke. And that was based on, really the gap's quite close considering Holloman was on pit road a lap before Truth.
Certainly, yeah. Yeah, this is going to shake things up quite a bit to see just how the pace is with the track, rubbering in a fresh set of tires. It won't necessarily drive the same way it did on that first stint. But, fighting some oversteer.
Yeah, Kinsley Smith with his hands absolutely full here on his Chevrolet Silverado. Getting into those bumps quite a bit and really trying to get the throttle out of the corner. So, that's kind of what I mentioned. Surprised we haven't seen one of those spins out of the corners, but perhaps the trucks just don't make quite enough horsepower for the downforce they generate, and that could be why. But Kinsley Smith showing you right here that you very well could spin this truck or any kind of vehicle out of turns 2 or 4.
And, John, you got to be really careful coming out of pit road on those fresh tires with no temperature in them yet. These trucks can be very loose on cold tires.
And that's another thing that is really crucial. You get used to the way those hot tires feel. You get on the slippery cold ones before they come in, and you can ruin your race in a hurry. And if you slide the tires while they're cold, you really ruin your longevity on the racing surface. As we're approaching the halfway mark, current race time only about 23 minutes. These guys are flying around this racing surface.
They are boogieing.
Yeah, it's no surprise to me. The truck series is always a fun one to be able to watch here for these guys. And when I used to race in the series, I liked racing on Thursday. I liked calling on Tuesday. I'm filling in for Alan. Alan's having a lot of bad weather in his part, and I think he's got a flooded basement. So what a day to deal with. But glad to be here to fill in. I think now we have 20 drivers on the racing surface. Bad news for Troy Thomas. He is the last car he is not. He is a couple laps down for Troy Thomas. Yeah. 20th, and not where he wants to be for the point situation.
Now, John, one thing I'll say that I'm noticing is those that pit earlier, the lap 40, lap 41, 42, they seem to have moved up a little bit as far as track position goes, whereas the later takers didn't quite get, so lucky. You have Truth Hoke, who fell back one position as far as the outlaps go, but Andrew Teft has fallen back quite a bit.
Yeah, and he's got time to make this up. He's 5 to 6 tenths a second faster than all the drivers in front of him. But I just don't think the difference in fresh tires to worn tires is that great here. Meaning that, if you stay out past everybody else, you give time up on the front end, you try to make it back when the tires fall off. Just from what I'm seeing, it doesn't seem like it's big enough of a difference that you'll be able to make all that time up. So he's currently, he was third. He's almost 6 seconds back on third, and he's 5 tenths a second faster that time than everybody there. That's, I guess it's only 12 laps, when he'd get back up to third. But you're taking a lot longer to get back to that position than if you would have pitted on cycle and just kept it, I feel like, in this scenario. Now, if you're second a lap faster, for a few laps, I think you can make up some headway. And drivers tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm just completely saying things the wrong way here. I just don't think the reward later on is going to overcome the amount of time it takes to catch everybody at this racing surface.
Sean Merriman just made a pit stop, lap 59. And that's his second stop of the night. So I think Sean Merriman may have had a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, that's too early to get you all the way to the end, I think, based on what we saw when everybody else pitted. So that's got to be unscheduled with some other kind of issues. Truth Hoke slowly but surely trying to catch Holloman. He's shrunk the gap down by about 4 tenths a second over the last 8 laps or so, running his own race. Wouldn't be surprised if Hoke adds himself to a list of winners here for this series.
Oh, it's just a matter of time. It would be nice to see Truth Hoke at that top step. It's like further back, Philip Archibald and Lee Campbell are going at it.
Excuse me. All right, it's a little further back. Rob Yost, another driver, right on the fringe of being in the playoffs, up 10 spots now in 14th, ahead of Jesse Fox, ahead of Troy Thomas, not ahead of Philip Archibald, not quite ahead of Dennis Kane, but putting himself in position, to make a run at that final playoff position. Unfortunately, we won't have live points to be able to show you exactly where it's going to cycle out for him at the end of this one. Really needs to gain a couple more positions, but want to go back to where the playoffs were. Troy Thomas, Philip Archibald, and Dennis Kane. Those 3 drivers were on the outside looking in by a maximum of 18 points, closest to 12 points. Rob Yost was 13 points to the good, so he's doing what he can to separate himself from those other drivers. Another guy that's below the cut line trying to make up some grounds, Trevor Woodward. He's 61 points down. He's going to need a better run than being in 13th to try to make up some headway. Probably really needs to win the race, I would say. Same with Kinsley Smith. He's running 3rd right now, but he is a pretty massive 69 points down. Pretty much going to have to win a race in order to advance. Probably 2 to make up the ground.
That'll definitely be going through every driver's head, is how many points do I need to score in order to be safe, while at the same time making sure that you don't overdrive it and force yourself into some kind of a mistake.
Excuse me. So about a third of the way through this race, these guys are still flying. Really no separation from anybody. Teft is miraculously really making up some time. And I tell you what, he's still about 0.5 a second faster. It's been about 8 laps. He's right on schedule to get back to that 3rd place position. Give him about 4 or 5 laps. I think he'll catch Kinsley Smith. But the question is, at what point do these tires equalize, and can he not make up any more ground? He pitted 6 laps after Kinsley Smith, so he's quite a bit faster than him, and about 3 or 4 laps after both Truth Hoke and Blair Holloman. He is currently the fastest driver on the track. Maybe he knows something that I don't know, and these tires are going to hold true to him, and he's going to be able to make up ground to the leader. So he's 0.4 faster than Holloman, but it's going to take him about 20 laps to get there, which would be getting us right to about the next pit stop cycle. So you guys listening to this, is it better at a track like Rockingham? Pit early, pit on cycle, or do you want to be a driver that pits after everybody else and you're trying to drive through the field and make a difference? Let us know what you think. Curious to know your thoughts. Want to thank everybody for being here. It's Tuesday, the 5th of November, 2024, round 6 for the Racers Elite Truck Series. 2 weeks away for the playoffs. They start 19 November, and it's coming in a hurry for these guys. And there's drivers jockeying for a position, trying to solidify their opportunity to race for a championship in this series. First race of the playoffs, Eldora.
I look forward to seeing everybody running on dirt.
And we know Alan will be in the booth for that one. It's going to be, 26 November. Eldora is the regular season finale. I apologize. That'll be in 3 weeks. So 3 weeks to make to the playoffs, but Eldora is going to be a wild card.
Yeah, Eldora will be that'll be interesting. That could be one of those if you're not strong on dirt, it could undo your chances if you're right by that bubble of hitting the playoffs or not.
Yeah, and you could just have a bad race too. Anything could happen, as we saw Honeycutt pass Lee Campbell. That was for 5th position. Teft right there with Kinsley Smith looking to the low side. The 311 Matt Metler to the high side. And he's just going to let those guys drive through. Teft sliding way up the track right there, almost 2 grooves. Has to catch the car. Smith going to hang on to the position, going to slide in front of Metler, right behind Smith. Really going to have to cool those tires off. Andrew Tuff's lap times have come up just a tick. It could be because he's racing, but perhaps the goodie, as our old Tony Trapasso would call it, starting to wear off now for the number 98 machine.
And Jesse Fox and Timothy Wright making pit stops.
Now, this is a good move. Early pit stop to make it to the end, not expecting another caution. these guys could pick up some positions on everybody else. That's going to force Rob Yost Jr. to defend. He's going to come down pit road from 15th. Everyone's going to take fuel, and if it goes green, I think these 3 drivers are going to make up some ground on the others. This should force everybody else in their immediate vicinity to pit as well, which should be a chain reaction to the front of the field.
I think you're exactly right, John. What I will say about Andrew Teft's pace on worn tires is it's quite remarkable. He has one of the fastest trucks out there on these older tires. Brandon Honeycutt being the other one that's kind of impressing me with the lap times on these worn tires. We're still putting down times well within the 25-second mark.
Right back here, Rowan
Everybody
Lloyd
else is-
running 9th. Kirby Wayne Scott a second and a half behind him, coming down pit road. So here come more pit stops. 3 drivers have pitted. Excuse me, 4 drivers have pitted now on this cycle to get to the end. It'll be 40 laps from here. Drivers went further than that on their first run. This might be a time that Andrew Teft takes advantage of the short pit here to try to gain some ground. But, you know, he's 0.3 seconds faster than Holloman. So, really, the longer he stays out, as long as Holloman doesn't short pit him, can be advantageous to Teft. But once Holloman pits, Teft can't wait around. He's going to run out of laps. He's going to have to pit immediately. Holloman right now dealing with some lap traffic, allowing Teft to close the gap. Truth Hoke as well, slowly but surely creeping in. He's a little bit faster also. Hoke is close enough that I would certainly recommend if the 32 comes down pit road, he needs to come as well. But this battle of this lap car, the number 6 right there, Trevor Woodward's going to bring Truth Hoke right to the leader.
Starting to notice some loose moments on corner exit from Blair Holloman. Doing a great job to keep it together. But dealing with that traffic is not what you want to be doing when you know that you may not know, but Andrew Teft's got clean air in front of him.
And so Truth Hoke is there. These 2 drivers battling is going to help Andrew Teft get there. So this round of pit stops is going to be extremely exciting. Kinsley Smith down pit road. Right now, Lee Campbell down pit road. I don't think they're close enough to the leaders to force them to come down. But really, which one of the leaders is going to peel off first? If I was Hoke, I'd try to do it right there. If you could, surprise Holloman. You know, short pit him, get out in front, make him chase you down. 1 lap on the tires probably isn't going to be a big enough difference. You know, but Hoke's been really good on the long run. So I'd almost want to pit sooner if I was Truth Hoke, just to try to, you know, force the issue. Does he come down this time?
And being that we're at lap 85, it at any time is a good time for these drivers to pit.
Andrew Teft on the outside, the number 99 right there. He's 3rd, still a little bit faster than the drivers in front of him. Not quite as much as he was before. 0.2 seconds as Dunaway comes down pit road. Rowan Lloyd into his pit stop, or pit box. Hoke and Holloman slowing each other down, allowing Teft to get into the mix slowly but surely. Teft coming down pit road.
Yeah, there he goes. If I was his spotter, I'd be telling him to make sure that he gets in before the other 2. But it looks like Truth Hoke just got around the outside of Blair Holloman.
Yeah, so Hoke around Holloman. These guys need to come down right now, or that might have been a race-winning pit stop for Andrew Teft. On pit road clean, as long as he's into his box, good. Holloman paying attention, he'll be
Blair
down pit road.
Certainly.
Hoke certainly needs to come down pit road this next time around.
Truth Hoke out there snagging another lap lead, but it's not going to get him another point. So he'll be in this lap.
Yeah,
I think that may have been a clever play by Blair Holloman to let Truth Hoke get around him and then dive down into pit road.
I think it was. Teft getting out first, though. Very good. Really, you know, long pit road time, 48 seconds for Teft. Have to see how long Holloman's pit road time is. Probably going to be a bit shorter as he's got that number 1 pit stall. Going to make for a big difference on pit road. Holloman's pit time significantly faster, about 1.5 seconds. That's going to equate to at least 1.5 seconds on the racing surface. But to see how they cycle through, Honeycutt still now to the point.
This one's getting exciting, John.
Yeah, I'm curious to really see what's going to happen. And then Sean Merriman, here he is, lap 59. I'm not pitting again. I don't know if he's got enough fuel to make it, but, he's got a 10-second lead to Kinsley Smith. And that could work out pretty good. Now, I tell you who might look like a genius right now. Kinsley Smith, he's got... no, he's not far enough ahead. I'm my mistake here. He's got a 0.5 second to Blair Holloman. Holloman's going to chase him down. Holloman's got 1.5 seconds to Truth Hoke. They had about identical pit stops. Their time on pit
Truth
road
Hoke had about
the same.
3/10 on pit road.
Yeah, he was faster.
He was a little bit faster, Truth Hoke.
Yeah, but I bet Holloman's entrance and exit
As Blair
were
Holloman
better.
sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, blazing 24.39. Andrew Tuff did close the gap to 2 seconds now. He's going to have to heads up beat the 2 drivers in front of him on speed to be there at the end of this one. Only time will tell. We're going to step away for our very last break and see how pit stops are going to cycle through. Thanks for being here tonight. My name's Jonathan. Joined with me is Colin McDonough, and we will be back momentarily. And welcome back. 18 laps remaining. Thank you for all of you drivers in the participating and viewers watching the race. 15 drivers on the lead lap. Holloman stepping away from Truth Hoke now by 2 seconds, well on his way to possible victory. Kinsley Smith 4 seconds behind. Andrew Teff about 6 seconds behind. Losing ground, a little faster than Kinsley Smith in front of him, but does not quite have the speed needed over Blair Holloman and Truth Hoke. Holloman looking to be a 5-time winner tonight, unless Truth Hoke can run him down in the final 17 laps. And he was not faster last time around, so he's going to need some help. Race so far, caution-free. To be expected when it comes to the Racers Elite Truck Series. More times than not, they very clean field. Certainly the group of people you want to race with on any given day.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be out there in this pack of drivers. It's a ton of people that you can trust, driving door to door with.
All right, 14 remaining. The top 3 is pretty well sorted out, but that is not to be said for 5th, 6th, or 7th. These guys are separated by less than 1 second. And 3rd place, Andrew Teft working on Kinsley Smith. So multiple positions left to be sorted out. Kirby Wainscott as well. Drivers not having a good night. Troy Thomas not on track anymore. Jesse Fox still running around. Trevor Woodward not having the night he needs. Rob Yost is 14th. He's in front of everybody he needs to be in front of, other than Dennis Kane. But he's not really. He is racing Dennis Kane for playoff position, but Kane has an advantage over 2 other drivers not having an ideal night. Holloman, Truth Hoke running identical laps last time around. Truth Hoke that time a little bit slower. Smith losing ground. Teft doing everything he can to get around that number 15. 5 for the paint job of Smith.
Yeah, Andrew Teft is displaying a ton of patience right now. He knows he's got the pace, but Kinsley Smith has enough pace to stay in front of him. It's not an easy track to pass on.
Yeah, the hot track
could pay off.
Sean Merriman having to pit, 10 to go. I think maybe he was hoping for a timely caution, perhaps.
Yeah, most definitely.
Either way, it didn't really work out for him. Lee Campbell sitting by himself. Sean Dunaway attempting to chase him down. Really closest race right now is between these two guys. This is for third. It's best racing on track as Smith nearly in the wall. Coming out of turn 4 down the front stretch side by side. Will either driver hold an advantage? Worth noting, Smith has a few lap older tires than Andrew Teft, but really almost running the preferred line.
Side work.
Going to slide up. It's going to.
Oh, no.
Oh, the 98's going to go around. 9 to go. Blowing up. There's Andrew Teft's race. Caution comes
that brings
out.
Caution. Oh, and we saw it live.
Only on Sim Racing Media. Andrew Teft doing what he thought he had to do. Honestly, I think it was a little bit too aggressive. Tries to close the gap and not quite clear. He's going to go around. Smith not cutting him a break, but I really don't think Smith saw that coming.
Yeah, I think Kinsley Smith thought he was just going to stay a little bit lower than that.
And try to watch it again from from the view of Smith here. He probably, yeah, you know, he never would have been able to tell. Just misjudged.
He might have thought that Andrew Teft was actually clear.
Everyone down pit road. Anybody do something wild? Curtis Ecker? Rowan Lloyd? Dennis Kane?
This is an interesting one.
Oh. You know, you're going to restart with 4 laps to go here. Handful of drivers staying out. Curtis Ecker being one of them. You get a bit of a cushion to those those cars with tires. We might get ourselves a new winner.
Certainly could.
I take that back. I guess those drivers came around the next time to pit. So we're going to have...
All right.
Curtis Ecker, I thought, was going to make this entertaining. Now he is not. So it'll be Holloman and Hoke. Smith, Honeycutt, and Ware. There he is. Lee Campbell, Dunaway, Philip Archibald, give or take. So Truth Hoke going to have a shot at it. Going to be a shootout. Kinsley Smith going to have a shot at it, and we know he's aggressive. And he's going to be on the same cycle tires now.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of an all-out melee at the restart. The drivers that I haven't seen come down yet, it's Dennis Kane, Rob Yost Jr., and Justin Branham. But Branham came down on lap 97, so his tires aren't so bad.
Yeah, so what, 4 laps to go, give or take. I don't know if this will be the last caution.
Yeah, I don't think that it will be.
You know, caution free all night. I accept 1 or 2 more to sort this one out. I mean, Holloman, 4-time winner. Hoke, no wins on the season, but solidly in the points. You know, he's running 4th right here. Would be nice to earn himself a win. Kinsley Smith needs a win. He's 69 points below the cutoff. You know, another driver that could use a win, Brandon Honeycutt. You know, he's not full-time, I don't believe, here. And he's kind of sitting there with an opportunity.
It's interesting. Blair Holloman chose the high line, which is his preferred line. But Truth Hoke has not been slow on the low line.
No, not at all. But I do think Holloman's slightly more aggressive than Truth. You know, and he's got less to lose. But Truth, again, solidly in the points. I'm going for it. If I'm the 55, going to have 4 to go here. You just need to stay side by side, and you need to drive that 32 all the way up to the wall. Cold tires, better restart for the 32 is not going to be a factor. Going to slow up Kinsley Smith. Might be a battle between Honeycutt and Blair Holloman. Going to take the lead right there. Honeycutt's going to be P2. Does he have anything for that number 32 car? Here comes Honeycutt. 32 up the racing surface. Overdrives maybe just a little bit. 13 making up some ground. Not as much as expected. Smith and Hoke as well as Dunaway. That's the battle for 3rd.
Oh, and Truth Hoke is falling back.
I don't know if we're done with cautions here.
Wasn't quite getting the drive off the exits that he needed. And, oh,
wicked loose, caution out. Curtis Ecker.
Man. It's like Rowan Lloyd involved as well.
Right out the front end of, I'm not sure.
Rowan Lloyd,
was it?
I believe so. That's what it looked like, yep. Yeah, that's just a repeat of what we saw earlier, really.
So we're going to get another shot at this. Honeycutt's going to get to start right next to the front row. Smith has another opportunity. Dunaway, a good chance to make something out of it. Truth Hoke's got to be kicking himself a little bit. But we're going to try this one more time here.
Yeah, this was. I don't want to say this was to be expected, but you know that those late race safety cars just they bunch the field up, and then suddenly it's just so critical to get track position on whoever's around you, and you start taking a little bit of chances about whether or not you're clear on someone.
Well, we're going to see in a second. I mean, who wants it the most? Holloman obviously likes to win.
He's been doing an incredible job keeping that truck right up against the wall.
We're taking a break, catching our breath instead of having coughing fits before we call the end of this one. We're going to talk about the lineup. Holloman, Honeycutt, Smith, Dunaway, Truth Hoke, Lee Campbell, Philip Archibald, Kirby Wainscott, Trevor Woodward, Dennis Kane. Rob Yost Jr. with an opportunity to separate himself further from the near cutoff.
Yeah, and if I'm Sean Dunaway in that fourth place spot, I really like the idea of being on the high side in row 2 because it really seems like being on the high side is where you want to be.
Yeah, I think so too. In fact, I would almost prefer to line up row 2 outside instead of the inside if I was Honeycutt. I don't believe that they have the option to do that in this series. But if I'm Kinsley Smith, I would much rather be on the high side than the low side of row number 2.
I think if you're Kinsley Smith, you're going to be fighting. You're going to be hoping that Blair Holloman gets a really good start and that you can get to the high side as soon as possible and take it away from Sean Dunaway.
Yeah, worth mentioning, Dunaway having a pretty good season, 25 points over the cut line. Can't miss, can miss one more race. Would be nice to be a little more comfortable or get a win going into the playoffs for Dunaway. But we're about to find out. We're going to have 2 laps to go. Holloman, Honeycutt, Kinsley Smith, or Chaos. What's it going to be? Race fans, thanks for being here. Buckle up one more time because I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last one that we're going to have for the night. 2 laps around Rockingham. Abrasive, bumpy, high temperature, high instinct battle kind of a track. Here we go as that pace car comes down pit road. Holloman's going to be on the buttons, going to get another good restart.
Awesome
Honeycutt spins the tires. That's going to hold up everybody behind Holloman.
Goodness. It looks like Honeycutt can still get to the high side.
And it's almost like Holloman didn't drive the corner very well. Here comes Honeycutt. He's going to have one shot at it.
Oh, and somebody caught the wall in the back, and everybody's scrambling to get to the bottom.
Lots of stuff going on here. No one's going to be able to get to the leader, I don't think. We're going to keep an eye further back. Archibald, Rob Yost Jr. could be battled to the outside. The 83 on the 99. Holloman down the backstretch. Kinsley Smith looking for second. Can he get to the outside of Brandon Honeycutt? I don't think he's going to get there. Holloman's going to win the race. Side by side, we're going to have True Hook spinning out on the infield.
True Hook's in the grass. Oh, he's going to come across the line roughly where he was. Oh, my gosh.
Well, 3 wide across the finish line for some drivers. What an incredible last lap. We're going to have to take a moment on the blimp here and just kind of see what the white flag looks like from above.
Yeah, Blair Holloman just put in his fastest lap of the race right there.
Yeah, 24-21, last lap of the race. You could see a lot of these drivers, really trying to get everything they can here. Side by side, all throughout the field. what could have been 3 wide right here didn't quite turn out to be that. Truth Hoken Dunaway. Truth was really trying to get position, got loose, didn't want to wreck him. 3 wide was 3 wide at the line for Campbell, Archibald, and Rob Yost Jr. What a way to finish this race at Rockingham. Hour long. Holloman, Smith, Honeycutt. So Smith did somehow at the end get around to Honeycutt. I guess he just had to drive off. I want to watch that one more time and see how Kinsley Smith gets around. So I guess he gets a really good run off the corner. It just looks like Honeycutt let out of the throttle.
It really does look like Honeycutt let off.
And that looks like some stuff we saw live. That looks like a position for Kinsley Smith. You know, I wonder.
My. That.
Although
that
this
really
is
did
iRacing,
look like
we're not going to get
did.
political. All right, let's focus on Holloman, as we probably missed most of his burnout watching, the rest of the chaos. Blair Holloman brings it home round for race win number 5 on the season, Colin. It's got to be put in the notes. 5 wins on the season. Incredible for the 32 machine. It's got to be your favorite. I've got 3 more races to the playoffs starting on the 26th of November. Wild card Eldora at the end of it. Almost feel like we should enter the SRM Alan Bergen machine in that, and I'll call it from here. But, that would be an interesting race, I would imagine.
Alan would love that.
Yeah, I think that would be that would be a rather fun event, I might add. All right, so the only thing left to do now is start talking to some drivers. Let's see if race winner is available. Blair Holloman, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on the win. That's 5 on the books, I think, this season.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah, that is certainly 5 wins on the year. With that last caution coming out, in fact, you had 2, that you had to hold off the field. What were you thinking with the first caution that was brought out by Andrew Teft, just not being clear of Smith trying to take away third? You looked like you were kind of on your way to victory at that time. What were your thoughts when that caution came out?
Anytime you go to caution with about 10 to go, it kind of throws that wrench into what you're up to. You got to decide real quick whether it's like, am I going to stay out? Am I taking tires? Am I taking 2 tires? Like, what am I going to try to do? And thankfully, when I dove into pit road, I decided, well, I'm going to try to put 4 on here and see what happens. I was expecting to see somebody take 2, but it looked like 4 tires for the entire field. And pretty much just the restarts was just try to hit the marks, because we're starting solo in second gear. It's about 4,000 RPM when you fire off. You really got to be on your shift points, because turn 1's coming up quick, and you got to try to be in 4th gear by the entry of 1. So it was pretty interesting there. I'll give it credit. It was definitely interesting.
Yeah, we thought it was there's a lot going into this race. So really cool to watch from our vantage point. Thanks for putting some information out there. Is there anyone you'd like to mention or thank before we let you go? And what are you looking forward to for next week?
Yeah, I'll give a couple quick shout outs. I know the truck kind of looks a little different. It is it's a replica, or more or less a replica of what the Corvettes were when they ran Daytona in 2001. Want to give quick shout outs. Team Captain Yost with his top 10 finish. I know it's going to help him in his chase, his pursuit of staying in the chase. So that's definitely big for him. The truck, I know it's missing most 3 key sponsors, but Holloman Napa Auto Parts with my cousin Ted, ACR Auto Core Recycling with my buddy Brian Lefevre, and Macro Tools with my tool guy Roy Salisbury. Last shout out I want to give is to my dad. I know he's watching. And as for looking forward to the next couple weeks, there's a couple interesting tracks coming up. We're actually going to a couple places that's Teff's wheelhouse. So I might have had the upper hand a couple of these races, but we're going to a couple tracks that he's usually faster than me, so I know I'm going to be chasing him. So it's going to be fun to see if I can't do a little bit better this next time around with some of these tracks.
Yeah, well, you certainly have a target on your back with 5 wins now. Other drivers really want to, start winning. So we'll see kind of what happens now that you're solidly in the playoffs and ready to go. So thanks for the interview. We hope to talk to you again next week, and enjoy your night and whatever chaos might come with it.
Thank you, guys. I'll catch you next week.
All right, so that was our race winner for the evening. Now looking forward to our next second place finisher, Kinsley Smith. Kinsley Smith joining the booth now. Kinsley, great job getting around Honeycutt the end of the race. We didn't quite think you were going to get there. It looks almost like he maybe gave the position to you. Was that something that happened, or do you think he just wasn't paying attention and thought he could coast to the end and beat you?
I'm not quite sure what was going through his head. I know he said he got a little loose coming off 4, and he had to check up, and he started ghosting, I guess. Not 100% sure though.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to, make real things in this series. It just was really surprising how much it seemed like he was off the throttle right there. Just unexpected, I guess, but great for you to get a P2. Kind of helped push you towards the process of making the playoffs. Now, I know at some points it used to be part-time. Are you intending to make the playoffs in this series this season?
I mean, if I can make it, then I'll try to make it. I know this season and last season I've been part-time majority of the time, but I mean, if it's there and it's an opportunity and I can make it, then I'll definitely try hard for it. But I know I missed 2 races in the trucks this season, so I'm pretty far behind.
Yeah, so it came into this race 69 points back, but a solid P2 with, I think, a lap led. And drivers in front of you having trouble tonight. I think you probably had a pretty good points night, and you got 3 more opportunities to make the playoffs. Can't miss a race, so looking forward to seeing your drive to see if you can get in there to make that happen. Is there anyone you'd like to mention or thank tonight?
Of course, I'd like to thank my team, Driving Extreme Inc., and then Andrew for putting on the league for us, and you guys at SRM for broadcasting, and my daughter loves watching these races and loves sitting next to me while I'm racing too, and my girlfriend Ashley. All
right, Kinsley. Good talking to you. It's been a fun time in the booth watching your race. I hope you have a great evening. Enjoy your night, and maybe we'll talk to you next week for a race win.
Thank you.
Last one's going to be Brandon Honeycutt. I'm not sure if he's going to be available for interview. I don't see him.
I think he already packed up and headed out.
Packed up in a hurry, wants to get home for the rest of the evening chaos. Colin, this was a really great race, and the Truck Series Racers Elites never fails to amaze you. 2 cautions, short race, racing the whole time. It's almost like they brought the right tire to the racing surface. Holloman's going to wrap it up, winning race 5 on the season. Kinsley Smith and Honeycutt, that's going to be your top 3. Andrew Teft, great drive all night, top 3, top 4 car, ends up finishing 18th after trying to take 3rd place away from Kinsley Smith. That'll be a good thing to put in the notes for later on. Sean Dunaway, Truth Hoax, that's going to be your top 5. Campbell and Archibald, Rob Yost Jr., all 3 of those drivers needing good races, solid top 10s. Looking up for those drivers. Dennis Kane as well. Kirby Wainscott, Curtis Ecker, Trevor Woodward not having the night that he really needs. Finishing 13th, but he needs to be gaining more points than that. Jesse Fox leaves points on the table. So does Troy Thomas, finishing 22nd. Really rough night for him. He's going to have his work cut out for him if he's going to try to make the playoffs. Not really sure what happened to Matt Metler. Finishes 21st, only completing 75 laps in this one. Maybe he's got some weather down in Florida. Troy Thomas, again, 22nd. John Brancaccio and Kyle Hess, both drivers, exited early on this one. So, final thoughts for Rockingham. It was everything we expected it to be. A tough battle, racetrack, abrasive tires did play a factor. Points implications for sure. Can't wait to look at what the points, see the point scenario going into next week as the drivers get ever closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, that was a tremendous race tonight, John. Just the track seemed to really change over the course of this race.
Yeah, just outstanding race. Can't wait to see it next week when we get back to it. Only thing left to do now is to sign off. Thanks from Sim Racing Media. My name's Jonathan. Joining me tonight is Colin, as Tony Trapasso always says. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not play in traffic. Stay safe and enjoy the chaos tonight. Good evening.